A very good morning to all of you. I am V. Tulasi, Assistant Professor of English at MREC. Today, I would like to have a discussion on a grammar topic called direct and indirect speech. Before we go into the topic, let us study the picture, what it really shows about. The picture clearly gives some scope for the topic and its discussion. I want all of the students to have a look and give your interpretations regarding this. Tell me, what do you see in the picture today? Exactly, Manasa, what you said, that may be true. Yes, there are two people. They were just discussing something. Let us see who else. Yeah, yes, Varun, you are also very closer to the point. They are just exchanging some kind of dialogue. There is also a talk or a conversation between them. That's also true. Let us come to the main point. What do we think that are they having or are they picking up a kind of conversation? Maybe true. Let us talk about the words which are related to talk. For example, talk, a dialogue, conversation. Somebody is writing something. Yeah. Yes, Shivani, you're right. It is about a speech. A speech. Okay. So, do we try to understand what really speech is meant by? Speech means a talk or a dialogue between two persons. When we talk about speech, it is quite common in our daily life that we discuss various things in our life. Okay, there are kinds of speech: direct speech and indirect speech. Let us know what they are. Before we know about direct and indirect speech, let us try to understand what are the contents that we are going to study in this class. Reported speech, reporting verb identification, tense changes in indirect speech, points to remember, changes of pronouns in indirect speech, and explanation with the examples. Uh, we have to know something about the definition of direct speech. If we repeat the words of a person exactly in his own words to someone, it is called direct speech. For example, Pooja said, I'm very happy about your success. What did you notice here? The direct speech is given in this way, like reporting where do we find it? It is Pooja said. Reported speech is, I am very happy about your success. Now, indirect speech. If we express the essence of main points of a person's words with a few modifications, it is called indirect speech. Okay. So there is an example. Pooja said that she was very happy about my success. So you can also find one kind of change. In the above example, we saw that there were some inverted commas, but in this example, you don't find any inverted commas except a punctuation mark called full stop at the end of the sentence. Let us try to have a look at the same definitions in a detailed manner. Suppose you tell the words of a person exactly some X, Y, Z, it is called direct speech. I'm sorry. And if we say the same words with a little more modifications, it is called indirect speech. There are some points to remember. Direct speech should be placed between the inverted commas and begins with a capital letter. We already discussed reporting verb where it ends up with a comma, whereas reported speech that begins with a capital letter. You see, Pooja said, I want to study medicine. Now, no inverted commas and commas are used in indirect speech. For example, Pooja said that she wanted to study medicine. The tense of the reporting verb is not changed. Yes, as it is given in sometimes in reported verb, uh, the reporting verb of the tense does not change. A conjunction is also used after the reporting verb in indirect speech. For example, you see, she told me that she would inform me. So there are two things you can find here. Uh, Two clauses are added by a conjunction here, that She told me that she would inform me. So that is a conjunction you can easily identify. Uh, One more change you can find here: tense or pronouns or words indicating nearness of time and position are changed. For example, Pooja said to me, I waited for you here today. Pooja told me that she waited for me there that day. So, in this example, you clearly observe it. There is a change of pronouns and nearness of time in the indirect speech. Pooja said to me, and one more important you have to find here, said to becomes told in indirect speech. So I waited for you here today, it is given. Pooja told me that conjunction is also added. She waited for me there that day. So here becomes there and today becomes that day. This is how we can find a change here. There are some changes which do really take place from direct into indirect speech. Mostly the major change that takes place in tense. Simple present in direct speech that becomes simple past in indirect speech. Present continuous tense becomes past continuous tense. Present perfect tense becomes past perfect tense. Present perfect continuous tense that becomes past perfect continuous tense. Simple past becomes past perfect. Past continuous tense becomes past perfect continuous tense. And you also see some changes in words denoting time and position, direct and indirect speech. You see, there are some adverbs, they are supposed to be changed into other into indirect speech. For example, this becomes that, these becomes those, now, then, ago, before, last night, that becomes the previous night, next day, that becomes the following day, today, that day, tonight, that night, yesterday, that becomes the previous day, tomorrow, that becomes the following day, here, that becomes there. Let's take a look at few examples. Jaswita said, I like teaching. When you change it into indirect speech, Jaswita said that she liked teaching. The reason you can easily identify that in the given example, Jaswita said, I like teaching. Let us think about the reporting verb that's given is said. That's in simple past tense actually. When you talk about the reported speech, I like teaching, that becomes I like she liked. See here the pronoun also changes. Jaswita said that she liked teaching. Simple present that becomes simple past according to the rule that we already discussed in tense change. I have been teaching English for 8 years, Tulsi said. Tulsi said that he had been teaching English for 8 years. In this also you can find a little change here. The reason is we have got the reported speech in present perfect continuous tense. I have been teaching English for 8 years. When you change it into indirect speech, that should become had been teaching English for 8 years. Another example we see here, I was waiting for my friend, Janki said to me. Janki told me that she had been waiting for her friend. Murthy said to Madhavi, I used to write stories. Here, one more thing, used to remains the same, that you only have to add an extra added word called that there itself. Murthy told Madhavi that he used to write stories. So what is the thing that you notice here? Said to becomes that told. Where do you want to go now? He said to me. Here it is a question. Until now we have seen all declarative mode of sentences, but you have to see here there is a question that begins with WH words, and you also see the conjunction that remains there. Whatever the WH word that comes, that must be the conjunction in the indirect speech. You can see here. He asked me where I wanted to go then. So because now he was there, so it can be changed into then. What are you thinking about? Janki said to her sister. Janki interrogated or questioned her sister what she was thinking about. Because the direct speech is given in question, that should not change, that should not be written with the question mark again in indirect speech. So any kind of sentence that is given in direct speech that should be ended up with a full stop into indirect speech. This is how you find some kind of changes here. That's all it for today. We'll see the next class tomorrow. Thank you.